Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to another episode of Zoomer Economics. Mike here, and we are coming at you live, not from our normal studio, but we are actually in my brand new home office. I recently invested in a completely new desk area, and it is proving to be fantastic. I was operating off of a small IKEA table that was not meant to be a desk in any way. And yeah, as I started growing out of it, it started getting worse and worse. And yeah, I was able to put a good chunk of change into a very solid desk. And as you can see, it looks fantastic here. I will be changing a little bit more. I have a couple of different things on the way, so it is by no means done. Right now, this is my current microphone setup. I have the camera right over there. You are still a good distance away from me. But yeah, everything right now is looking really good in the sense of continuing to make videos. If you actually follow the channel, you would know that I haven't been making videos for the past 2 weeks, and that's mostly just because I'm focusing on the company that I work with. We're just trying to keep afloat during all these times, so I'm putting all my effort into that. And it's been really good though, especially having this home setup to do that. But for the most part, as far as the economy goes, oh boy, there's a lot to talk about there. And the overall update for me is that I have not been too adventurous lately with the stocks that I'm looking at. I am so unsure of the future of our economy right now. Nobody knows what the heck is going on. With the way that the economy is completely up right now, I have my Robinhood open over here. You can probably barely even see that. But for the most part, I'm out of my bottom. I've totally bottomed and I'm at the top and all the way out again. I'm in the green. It's almost like it never happened. And that's really weird. It's really weird. I pulled out of a couple of different positions that I had. I had a couple of ETFs like VOO and VTI. These are really great ETFs. They're very popular. However, their dividend yield, as I'm starting to focus on it more, is not as high as I would like it to be. I started dabbling with a couple of other companies. One is PSEC, PSEC, Prospect Capital. I've put a good amount of money into them recently. Another example of something that I put into was Two Harbors Investments. These are just small companies that have a good market cap, good dividend history, and also a much higher dividend. This is not news to you that I've been looking for dividends. I am somebody who believes that monthly dividends is a lot more valuable than something that pays no dividends but has the potential to be extremely volatile, whether it be up or down. I did mess with a couple of things that had to do with oil recently, and I'm not particularly impressed or proud of my success, but what I can say is that all of the things that I dipped my toes into came out with a profit. DGAZ is a very volatile one, DGAZ. That's one that I heard from someone. When I came across it, it was at a particularly low point, and it was right before all of the extreme chaos happened where they were paying people to take oil off their hands. But yeah, it was a very convenient time. I only bought one share and I profited about $30. So who cares about that? That's been about the most exciting thing that I've done as far as Robinhood goes. Everything else, I'm just increasing my position size, getting more equity in certain companies, and that's about it. I've been putting a lot more into ETFs. I'm not really focusing on many individual companies except for the ones that I know and the ones that I like. And that's about as much as I can really say to you guys. I'm not a financial guru and I'm not a genius. I have no prediction for what's going to be going on. And I have no way of uh, saying that my money is going to stay up where it is right now. We could dip down again. We could dip down even further. But it's just so unsure. And that's what's killing me. I feel like I have no clue what the next month is going to look like for my portfolio. But I'm still putting money in it. I'm very, very fortunate to be able to say that. And yeah, with the company that I work with, we're in serious talks about how we can get out of this and how we can come out stronger. And it's really humbling to see all the people around me who are going through what they need to go through. I have a couple of friends who are just being really strong throughout all this, and yeah, it's really great to have that. My family has been just keeping positive, and my girlfriend, I just really haven't been able to see her, so that takes its emotional toll, but for the most part, I mean, I can say that I'm keeping busy and I'm putting all my spare time into creating something that will hopefully do well. And that's this YouTube channel. If you're not already subscribed, I would really, really appreciate that. Share this video with whoever you like. But all of that aside, I've already been getting a lot of messages from other people that I know and people that have seen my channel and people that have asked me more information, and that feels really good. And I want you guys to continue doing that because I do have small tidbits of knowledge that I can pass on to you that, to somebody who's a market analyst, it might not be that revolutionary, but to an average person who's never actually thought about their financial security, there are some great things that are out there for you. And, I'm still focused on that. I'm still helping people around me when I'm not making YouTube videos, but my philosophy hasn't changed in the 2 weeks that I've been away, and in the time that the market has just been radically changing by the day. Oil markets aside, we don't know what the hell is going on. We don't know what's going on with the actual virus itself, but what we do know is that the U.S. government is readying their pockets to pay us out another few rounds of stimulus checks. Unemployment is insanely high. I think it's in the 20 millions, and I remember when Obama was president and unemployment was at 9% and people were just raving about that. And now, look at us. But doesn't feel like it's really that crazy. I'm not a conspiracy theorist in the slightest. Okay, that's a lie. I have my moments where I can give in to certain conspiracy theories, I'll be honest with you. But there's a lot of talk about the actual severity of the coronavirus and the numbers that are going around. And the only thing that I'm certain of is that we shouldn't be taking China's numbers seriously. Their predicted not their predicted numbers, their provided numbers. We should not listen to a country like China and believe that their deaths are slowing down. That is ridiculous. How could you actually believe that? How could you really believe that the place that the entire virus started is doing better than the entire world? It just doesn't make sense. It's everywhere. And nobody's found a cure, and just locking people up inside is clearly not going to stop a virus. What we need is a change in the way that the public functions. And yeah, in China, they've been doing that, but they did that through force. In America, people are already fighting back. And you can have your opinion on the protests and stuff like that. I have my opinion, but I don't really pay attention to all that shit. I think protesting is just not my thing. I will never be at a protest. You can invite me to any protest for anything, and even if it's a protest for, something that is obviously good, I just don't want to be at any protest, especially when it's a protest against something that is attempting to slow down the spread of a virus. But as a business-minded person, I understand completely the argument of it is crushing the economy of smaller places. So, as somebody who lives in New York City, I know big companies and I know big, large sections of people. The financial district is filled with millions and millions of people. All of these places in Lower Manhattan that I've gotten to work in. But we've never worked out of, where are these protests even happening? I couldn't even tell you. Fucking Milwaukee. I don't know. Wherever they're happening. Those are small places. They have smaller companies, and small companies like the one that I work for are in a particularly bad place. So I totally understand. They want the law to allow them to continue business if they so choose. Because this is America. This is the land of the free. We get to choose our actions, whether or not those consequences are... I don't even know what I'm getting at. We can choose what we want to do. That's what's in the Constitution. And the outcomes of those things are on ourselves. Just like if you pick up a gun and you buy a gun, you have the right to purchase that rifle. But what you do with it after that is your own choice. Okay? It's in the same vein where if you want to go outside, you can go outside. You can wear a mask or you can not wear a mask. You can be respectful of the people around you or you could not be. You can go outside coughing, sneezing, spitting, literally flinging your feces around the room. There's going to be consequences for that. There's going to be social consequences and legal consequences. That's what you are signing up for when you agree to be a law-abiding citizen. But then the idea of protest is civil disobedience. It should be, at least, in my mind. And I can totally see how these people who want to be running their businesses are making the claim that this is America. We have the freedom to continue our businesses if we so choose to. The main argument against that is, come on, don't be so stupid. But it's not being stupid if they're in a completely different situation than you are. If you're talking from New York City, like I am, about people who are in a town of a population of 2,000, the choices that they make are going to be radically different than the ones that I make, living in a area that has more than 10,000 people within a couple of 100 feet from each other. So I understand both sides of the coin, and taking that with a grain of salt, all I can really say is do your own part. Focus on yourself. Stop worrying about what everybody else is doing now, especially now. I don't care who's protesting what. I'm still going to do what I think is best for me, because this is America and this is the land of the free, and I get to make that choice freely for myself. I am going to decide that I want to continue to practice my free market capitalism. I will decide that I will continue to run my life however I so please. If I go outside without a mask, that's on me. In New York City, they are saying that there will be legal ramifications for not wearing a mask. Do I believe that? I'm not gonna test it. I'm not gonna mess with an NYPD officer during all this. That's a dickhead move. But I have a really nice mask, thanks, Joe. My guy Joe pulls up with the N95 mask for me. Really awesome. So, and I'll wear it. But I mean, I'm really not worried about my own health. What I'm really concerned about is the health of my family members who are more elderly. My mom is in her 60s and my aunt is in her 70s. Um, I'm going to do everything that I can to make sure that I don't endanger them. What you can do for yourself is the very same thing. Don't put yourself in a position where you can endanger other people. It's the same reason why we say don't go speeding. Don't drive your car down the road at 100 miles. Not because you can get hurt, but more so that you can hurt other people. If I chose to drive my car down the road at 100 miles per hour, that's my own choice, right? This is America, land of the free. I can do what I want. You get caught by the cops, yeah, sure, you might get in trouble for it. Same thing when you don't wear a mask. You're zooming down the street at 100 miles per hour with no mask. These are my family members. These are people that I love. These are people that I want to be able to continue living life normally with after this is over. Is this ever going to be over? Well, I mean, New York City thought that terrorism was going to be a constant blight on our existence for the rest of eternity. We haven't had another building blow up or collapse in a very good amount of time. But we still have plenty of other things to be concerned about. And now we have one other. I don't think that coronavirus will ever be gone. Just like how swine flu is still around, but you don't hear about anybody getting swine flu. They might get some kind of mutation of it. We don't know how easy it is for coronavirus to mutate, but we can only see, and we can only take it with stride. And in the stock market, everything is driven by people's emotions. So if everybody's emotional, you don't know what you're going to get. Emotion leads to volatility. Every reaction is a market overreaction. So one piece of good news can bring the market completely out of a recession, it seems like. We hear that the government is going to be ponying up $2 more trillion. I know you guys know about the concept of inflation, right? Have you never heard of Zimbabwe? Have you never heard of Venezuela? Do some research on inflation if you feel like you don't understand it enough. But there's definitely a lot to look in there that applies to us now. But I don't really see inflation being something that can kill us in the same way that it has in Venezuela. Venezuela had a big reason for their currency dropping. It was poorly run, and they ran out of their main export, and they didn't have anything to back it up with. America, we are capitalists. We have business. Business is our export. And is business going to be slowed down by the coronavirus? In some cases, it might be, but in other places, it won't be. And I think that we are not going to completely collapse due to inflation, but I think that it's very, very good that people read up on the idea of it because it could affect the value of your dollar. So if you're stashing away $10,000 and inflation continues, which it does, it always does, money goes up about 1 to 3%. Well, money doesn't go up. The value goes down, but, like I said, it's quite a concept. If your money is just sitting there and doing nothing, it's getting smaller. Think about it like that. If my money's in the market, it's growing, hopefully faster than inflation is growing. But right now, when we're pumping trillions of dollars into the economy, inflation will hurt us. How badly? I don't know. I can't say because I'm not an economist. But as a regular Joe, it makes me worried. So I'm still putting into my account, and I'm still putting into the things that have given me good returns and that I see giving me good returns in the future, even if things were to continue on how they are for a little bit longer. But if we do come out of this, it's fixing to be a pretty good return for everybody. And I want you to keep that in mind. We can acknowledge that people are dying, but I can't dwell on that in my day-to-day life. I can't sit here and dwell on the bad things all day, and people do that. People really sit at home and mope about the terrible things that are going on in the world, and you can live your life like that. You can talk about the war that's going on. You can talk about something that's happening in another country. You can talk about all the slavery that still exists in this world. You can talk about all of the horrific events that are still happening, the murders and genocides and stuff like that. You can talk about all the humanity crimes you want. And, if you're not the person to actually make a change about it, then what good are you doing than just making yourself sadder? I'm not saying that we need to ignore things. Not at all. I can acknowledge that there are so many people who have died already in New York, where I live. And I'm hearing stories of people dying blocks away from where I live. What else can I do with that but say something like, thankfully it didn't hit somebody that I know. Thankfully it hasn't hit me. And I hope that it continues that way. I really, really do. But when this is over, there's going to be pieces to pick up. But life goes on. Always. We've had some pretty horrible things happen in the past. And life just continues on somehow. Even when you think that it's the worst thing in the world, things just continue. And that's what's going to happen with this. Unfortunately, we're going to lose a lot of people and a lot of motivation and a lot of esteem and energy. But we'll get it back. It really sucks that it has to happen during such a politically charged time in our lives. But, every 100 years we have to have something. And the economy will come back too. But who cares at this point? That's all I have to say. Thank you for listening. And I really look forward to seeing you in the next video here on Zoomer Economics. Make sure you like, subscribe. It really helps me out. Share the video with whoever you think is receptive to these kind of videos. And let me know if you have any ideas about content in the future. If you have any questions, things that you want me to address, feel free to message me on any social media and we can talk personally. I love speaking with you guys. Keep it up and I will see you in the future.